marijuana, it definitely decalcifies the pineal gland, and it gets you, more in tune with your third eye, inspiration from the Most High, for real.
Now break that down for the
Right,
because we know what you're saying.
yeah, you heard that? You see how you just tried to run over that like that wasn't knowledge for the people?
Don't look. Kill yourself and be smarter than what your mother was. Bagging up an ounce and stuff I'm fatter than butterballs. I lost some friends, but fuck it, feel like I'm better off. Niggas be like unpaid bills, you better cut them off. Just being frank, I'm astounded by all the nonsense. Your beat sound tough, but where's your lyrical content? I rap a little, but let me put it in context. I'm really trying to stay out of jail, pass the cons test. See, I was forced to the dark side. Darth Vader smoked some Skywalker and started barking on Archangel. Slapped Indiana, then took the crate, the Ark Raider. I'm just trying to paint you a vivid picture of art major. I'm not conceited, I'm just convinced of my own worth. The rap style is old like the hairstyle on Joe Dirt. Don't need no ghost to write, put in my own work. A nigga said that dough can't flow, finish your homework. These dudes amusing, they reminiscing of Don Knotts. I'ma have them madder than Nick Vance and John Starks. You know the storm is coming, this is where the calm stops. I'm harder than the New York driver trying to find
Once
parts.
again, this is C.I. Wise back. Welcome to another edition of the Cypher. We're here talking with Seymore Doe. Let him introduce himself right now.
Yo, Seymore Doe, you already know, man. We in the building, Jersey, stand up.
That's right. Let him know who you are, where we from, man. You already know Jersey, man. My co-host also here with me, Akia. Let him know who you are.
What's up? It's Akia coming from Jersey, cannabis influencer and enthusiast. So let's start this conversation.
Let's go.
Okay. Seymore Doe, let us know who you are for those that don't know who you are, man.
I mean, for those that don't know, man, I don't know why you don't, but yeah, man, Seymore Doe, man, you know what I'm saying? I'm nicer than your mother's mother, man. If you ain't heard about me, you better ask about me, you know what I'm saying?
That's right.
But yeah, basically, entrepreneur, music maker, you know what I'm saying, cannabis advocate, you know what I'm saying? I was advertising before they was legalizing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, say that then. That's right. All right. Yeah, matter of fact, it sounds like you might be smoking a little something right now. What you doing?
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, right now, you know what I'm saying? I'm smoking some of this fire cookies, you know what I'm saying? Indica, hybrid dominant, you know what I'm saying? Around 27% THC, you know what I'm saying? Zero CBD, you know. So yeah, I'm getting nice and right now.
Okay. I got a little truffles over here myself, so I'm about to put a little heat to that too.
Okay. And what you smoking
Right.
on over there, kid?
Yeah, I was smoking on some of that Zytai. Something I had it once already. I feel like that one is sativa dominant, if I'm not mistaken.
Got you.
I believe it is. I smoked that before too. It was a mellow high.
Yeah. Like it was like I think 20%, if I'm not lying to you. The thing around here somewhere.
Nice.
So let us know what you've been up to. See more like what you got in the works, man. Let the people know what you know.
Well,
that
I recently just dropped my single Independence Day in July. You know, it was featured in This Is 50 and Hype Magazine and basically everywhere. It's on all major platforms. And then I just been slowly releasing different singles. I got On Guard, which is doing pretty well. Regular, that's another one that's doing pretty well. And basically just preparing, to drop this first EP, getting all of the pieces together, make sure that it come out properly.
Right. Okay. I hear you. All right.
Yes,
How's cannabis aiding in this process of yours?
Oh man, I mean, cannabis is everything, man. You know what I'm saying? Like for real, like it's involved in everything, man. From the lyrics to the inspiration to just daily life, man. Like, I mean, people always tried to, downgrade it because they couldn't control it. But it's never been anything wrong with it, in my opinion. It's always been helpful.
I feel the same way.
Yeah, I think we all got that same sentiment, right? So y'all know how long my relationship, man. Tell the people how long your relationship been, Seymore.
Oh man, I would think I'd have to say, I've definitely been smoking longer than I haven't been smoking, and
Fact.
since I have been smoking, I could say I've cumulatively missed less than a year without marijuana being in my lungs. It's been less than 365 days that I've missed.
Fact.
That's
Would you
Mm-hmm.
say
yeah.
it's also medicinal for you as well as recreation?
Man, I would say it's medicinal. I would say it's recreational. I would say it's inspirational. I would say it's
Cultural,
exactly,
right?
Yeah, word.
It's
exactly.
cultural,
Yes,
right?
man.
And that's what we all about here, that cannabis culture. Right now we on the music segment, and I know you got fire. We try to get that out to everybody out here so they can feel some of that heat. You feel me?
I greatly appreciate y'all, man. I mean, I, I, I don't say that I'm nice or anything like that. I do, but that's just bravado. I like for the people to, tell me. I love all feedback as long as you ain't like being a blatant asshole and like trying to disrespect me. I appreciate it all because it only helps me.
Facts,
Yeah.
right? Whether it's negative or positive, it's how you use it, right? So you can either
Exactly.
stumble on it or jump from it, right?
Exactly.
I feel like weed is just one of those things that you really tap into another level. Because I'm not gonna lie, I'm no rapper at all, but I definitely got plenty of videos where I'm just with my friends and we just the cipher turned into a different type
Hold
of
up.
cipher.
I know about somebody named Kia Stacks though. What you mean you ain't no rapper? I thought that was just rap was your
Oh, we
alter
gotta look
ego, right?
that up. We gotta
When you
look
was out
that
here
up.
dropping eights and 16s and shit like that.
Oh, we gotta look for that Kia Stack. Yes.
Yo, and that actually I was fried and started just like I don't know, it just felt right to just start rapping, and a friend gave me that name.
Kia Stacks was like a mix up in my mind of modern day making the Stallion and Tupac. Like if y'all can imagine that in one
Oh
artist,
wow.
this is what we
Oh
had going
wow.
on right here.
That sounds tough. Maybe you need to get back to that.
Oh man, I don't know. I haven't even written. I used to write poetry. I ain't done none of that in a while, but maybe y'all right.
It's like riding a bike.
It's like rolling a blunt.
Exactly.
Yeah, maybe y'all right.
But no, it's true. Marijuana, it definitely decalcifies the pineal gland and it gets you, more in tune with your third eye, inspiration from the most high for real.
Now break that
Yeah,
down for the because we know what
right,
you're
right.
saying.
Yeah, you heard that? You see how you just tried to run over that like that wasn't knowledge for the people? Explain to the people what the pineal gland is, because everybody may not be familiar with that, brother.
Well, for those that don't know, the pineal gland, aka the third eye, is the gland basically. It's sort of like in the middle of your brain almost. And the more in tune that you are with your pineal gland, the more in tune you are with the universe, with Patha, with mathematics, with science, with everything that we are truly supposed to know as beings of the Most High.
Mm-hmm.
And
Indeed, I like that.
a lot of things that we ingest because you know unfortunately, it's entities out there that don't want us to be in tune with who we are. They give us all of these things from birth to calcify and basically create a barrier around our pineal gland from what we eat to immunizations and all
Mm.
different types of things. So, you know, if you choose not to, change your diet or things of that nature to really like to really just break away, all of that stuff, marijuana slowly it does it. It helps you, you know what I mean? It gets you there. It might not do it permanently, because there's other factors involved, but it
So let's
definitely gets you there
understand
at the
what's
time
being
being.
talked about here. Let's understand what's being talked about here. Basically, what is being said is cannabis is not bad for you when used properly.
Exactly.
Yes, and it's crazy because on another episode I talked about cannabis making me more creative. I feel like I could be a different self, and so you kind of put that those scientific terms to what I was experiencing. Maybe that's why I bust out in the rap. Maybe that's why like
Yes,
I'm tapping into something that I may have been. It could be societal too, like something that the world tell you this is not a lane for you, or you're
exactly.
you're you're a female, that's a male thing. Like, it kind of allowed for me to just be me. Like, F what society say, F the indoctrinations, F all that. It's just like,
Hmm.
be you.
Like Cat Williams
Those
said, it's something in
those
it that
who
just make you say, fuck it. Like, fuck the
Mm-hmm.
bill.
that's right. That's right. But those cultures that incorporate cannabis into their culture, they smoked it as either a peace offering to the higher powers, or as a meditative practice to reach the higher powers. So,
Exactly.
whereas it was then labeled the devil's weed, which we touched on, that was a direct juxtaposition or a direct dichotomy to what it really was, just to throw you off
Oh,
the scent of what
definitely.
it really does for you. That's right.
Definitely.
That's
What
right.
and besides that, they what another huge factor in the whole witch hunt for marijuana was because you got to think when they first introduced hemp to the United States.
Ah,
This was during the time really this was during the time of the Industrial Revolution. You know what I
that's
mean?
right. That's right. In the textile industry.
Exactly. We come from a
That's
slave
right.
culture, cotton and thing, the cotton gin and the printing press. So all of these
That's
things
right.
were already institutionalized for the youth. So for you to be like, nah, we got to take away cotton, we got to take away paper, and we can just use hemp. They're like, oh no, we're not doing that, because now you're putting all of these people who've already had these institutions in place. You're essentially putting them out of business,
And then
which is
and then look at the threat it poses to big tobacco.
exactly. Because
And
you
on
see,
top of that,
they controlled tobacco already. They controlled all of the plants. They controlled all of the farms.
your so marijuana, the term that we use, if I'm not mistaken, in Spanish simply means root. So this is
Yes,
something that is grown. It's grown in North America. It just ain't grown in the United States of America. It just doesn't
Exactly.
naturally grow here. So really, how they looking at it as something foreign attacking their domestic crop, because cotton was growing here already,
Hmm.
tobacco was growing here already, we already got trees to make paper. So
Hmm.
now they looking at it twofold. It's embedded in racial capitalism, where
Definitely.
yes,
racism and capitalism is deeply connected, and so it's
yes.
a twofold thing that go there when you talk about interrupting that textile industry.
Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah, those are good points that you touch on. We have to realize that some of these laws are implemented at a time when the colonization is at its highest, right?
Yes, sir.
And
Yes,
so,
sir.
for the controlling class to control, they must control the products, the services, the
Exactly.
education, in order to govern in a way that is possible for them to thrive, right? And so,
Exactly.
if anything threatened that status quo, it was deemed unlawful or uh, 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 treason, right? So,
Mhm.
Exactly. I would tell my grandmother all the time, I love my nana, but I would tell my grandma all the time, I would say, Nana, marijuana is not a drug. And I would pull out the Webster's dictionary for her and I would show her the true definition of a drug. A drug is anything that has to be manipulated
Mhm.
or anything man-made in order to get the desired effects from it. You know why they call cocaine a drug? Because you don't just get cocaine from the coca leaf. You can
Yes.
no,
supplement it.
you
You can get
crystallize
and
it.
you
You have to,
right.
that's
It
You have
right.
has
to
to go
extract
through
You
a
it.
have to
whole right.
isolate.
Exactly.
You
It has to go
isolate.
through a
That's
whole
right.
scientific process before you get actual cocaine. The same thing with
That's right.
heroin and the poppy seed, but marijuana, it grows from the earth. And if you just so happen to light it on fire, it is what it
Yeah.
is, baby. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Yeah.
its attracting powers have majestic abilities, right?
Exactly. Seeing as how they couldn't control it at the time, they classified it as a drug, and then they had all of this propaganda and mental stigma on it, to where as people as well thought of it as a drug.
Well, hopefully, the more we educate the people on what cannabis really is, the less stigmatized it'll be. Because, unfortunately, for many years, it's been used as a weapon and not a tool. And when used properly, it is most definitely a tool.
Definitely.
And emphasis on the use properly. And I feel like the prime example I always give people, right, is like when you watch those shows and people be like, oh, I eat 100 cupcakes a day. Nobody goes and says, it's something wrong with them cupcakes. You gonna say, why do you have that relationship with cupcakes that you feel you gotta eat so many in a day?
Right.
So in using it properly, that's a completely personal decision. Like, for some people, they might need to smoke more often or feel that is the proper use for them. And as long as it's not hindering them from doing anything that they need to do to be a productive citizen, then I feel that I can't say nothing to that person. Now, if I see you and you trying to be as high out of your mind, those people, those friends, those family members, sometimes they'd be like, oh, I'm just trying to stay so high so I can forget about what's going on. It's like, nah, bro, let's address that. We could smoke and talk
abuse
about
of anything, right? So that's the abuse of anything. Once again, when you abuse or have a poor relationship with food and a negative relationship with exercise, you show the effects of that probably by obesity, right?
Exactly.
So in my eyes, there's really no such thing as over smoking. And what I mean by that is I always explain that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. You just have to counteract the action in which you're doing in some manner that will balance out the two, right? So if you think you're going to smoke all day and never have any physical activity, of course, some type of way you probably will suffer lung problems more quickly than not. So you can't just sit on your couch, for instance, and be a couch potato and smoke weed all day. That is not the same thing as,
that's not productive. Exactly.
Right. That is not the same thing as indulging in cannabis. And you may see me with a joint in my hand all day long, right?
But I'm working.
I'm producing while that's happening, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
And it's like that's part of the stigma. Like it's not everything that have weed in it, because I realized too, like, and now being in this station of my life, weed has been present in some things that you don't think is present. Because let's be real, Shaggy and Scooby was high.
All day long.
Right. That definitely was a satire about two stoners,
Exactly. Even when you look at Yogi Bear and Boo Boo, they was always looking for a picnic basket. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Them niggas was high.
Yeah, and it's like you look at other
basket,
things,
right?
And it's like it's crazy because you look at those two things, and those are the people that's the main part of the show. Shaggy and Scooby always discover who the person is behind the mask. It's always them. And so it's like you look at that, and that's one way of looking at it. And then you look at the other side of TV that's gonna paint it as if you smoke weed, you gonna sit on the couch all day, you ain't gonna do nothing, you ain't really got no job, you ain't got no money coming in, all you do is smoke weed. Like, that's not true either.
Because the most inspirational people in this world indulged in marijuana, believe it or not.
Yes, when we get to the truth of it, right?
Exactly.
And that's what's amazing to me, because I'm not going to quote anything specific, but I'm pretty sure if we look at college statistics and college graduates and those with master's degrees, and we got a fair and accurate assessment and a survey of those that have and continue to indulge in cannabis, I would almost guarantee that it was probably over 50%.
Definitely.
Yeah, I know, at least for me, I smoked weed my whole college experience.
No matter which level of college we go, whether it's junior college, whether it's a Division I school, Ivy League, upper echelon, within the walls of that institution, cannabis has been fired up.
Oh, yes, all the time.
Always. Yeah.
All the time.
Right?
All the time.
So that just goes to show you that it has been included in almost every part of our history. Not almost, in every part of the history of this country.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
definitely. It definitely is.
And I think if we just talk about cannabis as a whole, like we include the THC, the CBD, the hemp. I think if colleges
Hmm.
were more, I don't know what the word would be, but if they were to incorporate cannabis more into all of its, maybe not the THC part, but I think about athletics. Like CBD and
Right.
hemp can really help them athletes. Why are
Yes.
we not
Yes.
talking about that?
Yes. And then I mean,
Yes.
even when you talk about THC, if you really do your in-depth research on the particular strain that you may be smoking, they do specific things. Like there's a
Yeah,
specific strain over in California, it's called Charlotte's Web, that they really
Yes.
give to autistic children, and it helps them reconnect their brain synapses. Like
wow.
Right. So
it's
that
real.
is a big reason for why weed has gone through a legalization process in this country, because of Charlotte's Web that you speak about, and the
Yes,
tincture first being, it being created for a little girl. And, they tried to take the man to court behind that, saying
that's
that
right.
it was, child abuse and all that. And the man won because his alternative medicinal practices was
They weren't
showing
working.
better results over what the norm was supposed to be, or over orthodox medicine in this country,
Right,
right?
right. You're
And
absolutely
so
right.
when you got one thing they say, right, when they say when you know you show, and if you knew better you do better. Well, when you got the proof of what it is right before your face, it's hard to ever deny that, right? And
Definitely.
so now, putting it in your face, and with the days of today's social media and everything, we get that facts to everybody out there that this is what actually happened. Now doctors have to find a way to uh, break that down,
Mm-hmm.
right? And when they can't disprove it,
Right.
all of a sudden now we start having the legalization of marijuana, first through a medicinal form, and then through recreation, because once again, we use the health factor first to justify why we've taken off the penalties for something that should have never had them in the first place. And then once that's done, how quickly they go to capitalize on it and make it recreational for everybody, right?
It's true. I mean, let's be for real. How many people have died from marijuana? Like alcohol, that shit kills niggas
Right,
every day. Like that shit
right,
kills
right,
niggas
right.
every day. Whether it's you drink too much, whether
Hey,
you
remember you
goddamn
had
drunk
mad.
driving or something like that.
Remember,
Anything. Word is born. That shit
so you
kills
still
people
got we
every
still
day.
got those. Don't we still got those groups like Mad and Sad, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, and
Yes. Yes.
Students Against Drunk Driving? You've never heard again. You never heard of Students Against Smoking Weed, or
No.
Mothers Against Smoking Weed,
And
No.
because
and
the
to
effects.
add to that, like in college, so one thing they make you do as a freshman is you go through this, like it's an intensive training about how to look for signs of what they is different kinds. So they teach you different things. You can brown out, which is where you drink so much that you forget, but your body's still okay. And then when you black
Hmm.
out is when you are experiencing alcohol poisoning. And they teach you,
Right.
like we had to sit through hours of training to learn how to, even though when you come in as a freshman, you 18, you can't drink. You're not
Now
supposed to be
that's new
drinking.
knowledge for me. You see that?
Right.
Now see how things change, and things change, and I'm just bringing notice to that. I had none of that, and it may have been the institution that you were at. I went to Howard University, and I had no knowledge of a brownout versus a blackout. So that was very
Yeah,
And
that's definitely news to
educational. I
me
like
as
that.
well.
and
Thank
they
you.
teach you that though so that you can drink alcohol safely. So I don't understand why we not applying this same thing, because you're 18, you're not legally able to drink, yet you still teach me how to indulge safely because you know it's likely I will drink.
Hmm.
So
Right.
so when it comes to cannabis, why are we not talking about that with cannabis? Why are we not talking about how to appropriately choose the THC level for you? Why are we not talking about,
Well,
I mean,
these are the conversations that hopefully we open up, right? Because they've
yeah.
opened the door now and cracked it, and hopefully that you bring up these topics. Maybe we can get in to look into that, right?
Yeah.
so people can know what's the proper amount of THC to take for their body weight and things of that nature. Everybody likes the work done for them, so maybe we can have a committee to put out something that's recognized universally amongst the cannabis culture.
Yeah, and I noticed too, like the average everyday person don't even know what THC and CBD. What's the difference? Like
they also don't know what the acronyms really what it really stands for.
Yeah.
For asking to say what is the full word of but that's another thing.
Very
so
hard
you're
to
right.
pronounce.
It is very hard, but some of them would not even recognize it if I showed the word that's actually THC. So the tetrahydrochloride or something like that, or
right.
tetrahedra, right, and something like that, right. And then you got the cannabinoids, which is the CBD, right, and or cannabinoids or whatever you want it, right.
I believe it's cannabinoid.
Cannabinoids, right. So see, I'm even mispronouncing it, but I know recognizing it, looking at it. Right?
Exactly.
And I'm not saying that I have more knowledge. I'm just saying when you don't know, you can't show. So hopefully now people know what THC is and they can go look it up for themselves. I've cracked the door open and they can bust it wide open themselves, right? Just to find out more about it.
Right. And like I said, if you really do your research on the strain, it'll definitely give you the properties and you pick and choose, how you want it to affect you. Do you want something that's going to make you laugh? Do you want something that's going to give you cotton mouth or leave you stuck? Or do you want something that's going to be inspirational and have you, like wanting to go outside?
I prefer a hybrid most of the time, right? Because I really don't, I like the effects of both an indica and a sativa. Right, but rarely do I want to see just one end of the spectrum all the time. So you kind of want a mesh up of the two. So hybrids are like really my choice of flower.
True.
Yeah, same.
Right.
I usually go with the indica most of the time. I smoke the sativa when I'm going out because I know, like, God damn, I gotta stay up. But for the most part during the day, man, I like a good indica for real.
Yeah, and that's one thing I learned too. Like my relationship with weed, with cannabis as a whole, I should say. I ain't gonna just say weed. Cannabis as a whole has changed in my time in college because I was in Virginia, in a state where I come from, New Jersey. I come from Trenton, New Jersey. I know good weed. I went out to Virginia. It's a whole different atmosphere.
Yeah, there's levels to it. There are levels to it.
And so that's what made me study, like, I like this, but why do I like it? Like, because people tell you a bunch of names, and if you just going based off because the names sound cute or it sound fancy, you might be shocked that you just paid money for something that you ain't even high. So I learned to do my research about, like, what is it about the strains that I do like back at home. So when I come out here, they tell me a name.
Some people, what I've learned is everyone's opinion of good weed or what fire is not the same because they're not even looking for the same effects from their relationship with cannabis. Right? So some people like a nice taste, but really just want to be mellow, right? Other people could care less about the taste if it's headbanger. Like, I hit this shit 3 times, killed me, death, right? And some people like a blend of the two, and you got to know this with the terpenes and the THC, the CBD, and when you get that mesh up of what you like, this is how you know what you want to smoke, right? So it's times that, to me, things are fire. And if I say, yo, that was fire, this next person might say, nah, because what they're looking for something is more body healing properties of a CBD heavy weed, right? And I'm looking for more the euphoric head high. I like this right now. You feel me? So
it's got a lot to do with your body chemistry and all different types of things too. Like,
and that's
people are like, oh, I get paranoid and stuff like that. I'm like, well, because that's the way that your body might react to marijuana. So maybe you need something.
Or that strain. It could just be a strain, right?
And that's why I say I would suggest a different type of strain, that's gonna, get you right. You know what I mean?
Now that's that education where, once again, when you hear this education coming at you because someone may be misinformed, this is no way a person who indulges in cannabis coaxing you to indulge. But if you would like to indulge and would like to be educated properly on how to indulge, then you may want to try to look up a different strand on or the mood altering effects of this specific strain that you're smoking so you could then enjoy, right? So liquor, for instance, like most of us have a bad relationship the first time around, but over time, most people find that liquor that is tolerable even becomes good to them, that they desire it, right?
Yeah, and like to give the example of it. So when I first started, I think my first drink might have been Amsterdam. Like that was my first drink, which is a vodka.
Right.
I thought that I didn't like vodka because I had a headache real bad. Like I'm like,
It
oh
was
no, I
bottom
can't do
shelf
this.
because it was bottom shelf.
Right. So when I tried another vodka, and it didn't have to be necessarily Grey Goose, but I tried something different. I tried Tito's. I'm like, oh, this is a whole other experience. I don't feel the way that I felt with the Amsterdam, but that was I got friends that love Amsterdam. That was just my relationship with Amsterdam. And it's not that I dislike vodka as a whole. I just didn't like that brand, which could be comparable. You might not dislike weed as a whole. You just didn't like that strand. So try something else.
Right. If you would
That's
like
what you
to
want to
try,
do. Yeah.
Right. If you say that was enough for you to quit, right? What I would say is, do not generalize and say that weed makes you feel a certain way. What you say is the weed you smoked that day made you feel a way that you would not like to try any other weeds to give it a shot on how it might make you feel. That's it.
Or again, like I said, body chemistry. Maybe your body in general just doesn't agree with flower. So maybe you need to ingest marijuana, or maybe you need to like infuse it with your food or something to get it, to the way that your body is acclimated to it.
That's because maybe you need one gummy a day or something, right?
Right, like it's body weight, all different types of things. You could, like maybe if you ate a gummy or something, maybe you might weigh less than someone else, so therefore it affects you crazier than somebody who's maybe like 100 pounds heavier than you. He might have to take another one.
And I'm also for the advocacy of cannabis on a whole. So to me, the cannabis plant is similar to the soybean to me, right?
Right.
Where the uses for it are so vast. Like the oil can be used for topicals, right? We can use it for elixirs, right? So when we open up these doors and portals, man, it's never ending, right? It's just that it's a shame that it's been tamped for so long that you had to just sneak and smoke the flower, right? But I'm still, trust me, I am flower biased. That is my choice 95% of the time.
And to add to that, like, we talk a lot about, just to take it big picture for a minute, cannabis as a whole, people conflate that with THC, but we've been talking about THC, CBD, and hemp. And as somebody that I don't necessarily always do the CBD, but I might do, like, I know they got CBD wraps and stuff you could roll up with. I've experienced that. But also, yeah, they have CBD chocolate that I know for a fact they sell it in Wegmans. I don't know if it's at everybody's local Wegmans, but they sell the chocolate in Wegmans. My grandfather had a knee surgery and was going through a lot of pain. I'm the type of person where I don't really do the painkillers. Like, I don't even do aspirin for real. So I went and I bought that because I knew it was in store for my grandfather. I can get it for him right now, pay my money to get the CBD at my Wegmans that's up the street or whatever, then took that to him and he was like, wow, my knee feels so much better. He did not experience any of the high that might come with a THC, but experienced all of the healing properties that came with the CBD so that he could feel more comfortable walking after having a knee surgery. Like,
now
so
let's touch on that, Kia, because what was really going on even right there, right? Let's touch on the fact that most ignorant, if you offered the alternative form of cannabis medicating, would say they don't want to take narcotics, illicit narcotics, when they can go to the doctor and get some painkillers, right? And I say most ignorant because without knowing where the derivative of your painkiller, most of the time that is from opium,
Right.
a painkiller, right? So
Right.
if I told you this was really a heroin derivative, would you still want the painkiller? Would you trust that the doctors are giving you heroin and I've offered you weed, when even on their scale of drugs, they say heroin is, you know, classified greater at the time than even weed? You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. And it's like, for me
So,
too, it's like, then I even have experience on the hemp side because I have a cosmetic brand. I formulate with hemp. Hemp oil will take your skin and your hair and leave it moisturized. Like it's just like a unique thing. I use hemp extract. I use hemp oils, and I know some people that even use the hemp seed and actually put it into their smoothies before they go work out. Like cannabis has so many uses. Like
So
there,
many.
people will probably hear me say that 1,000 times. I think I like cannabis for the fact that you can never get bored with it. It's just, you can just keep
It's
going.
true. It's like
right.
you said, you can use it for makeup, you can use it for food, you can take hemp and you can make clothes out of it. You can literally make anything out of hemp. Like Woody Harrelson is one
Yes,
of the biggest advocates for hemp. You can
yes.
almost like jeans, everything. Like
Mm-hmm.
In
it's
high
crazy.
school, a classmate showed me how to make weed tea, man, out of my
Stems.
stems of
Yeah.
Yes,
weed, right? And at the
yes,
time,
sir.
I was like, man, I'm not going like that. And I'm telling you, like, I found it more enjoyable than black tea, personally, maybe because I am biased to cannabis again, right?
Right,
But
right.
it had me feeling better. It tastes better. Like, what was the problem here, right?
Definitely.
And you know, you just don't think about that often. But you know, now like I said, now that these doors are open, you know, hopefully we can capitalize, especially our communities that have been traumatized by the effect of the laws against cannabis. Right?
Right. Adversely affected.
Yeah.
Because let's keep it real. You know, other other groups are not even anywhere near as extremely penalized or long term affected by the effects of, you know, marijuana and things of that nature. So it's also
It,
adversely affected.
yeah, it's also a subconscious thing too, because what I noticed was, all right, I went to prep school, so I'm giving you a little background information on me, which was predominantly Caucasian, and myself being a young black man, right?
I went to
And
Catholic school, so I can I'm with you.
okay, so when my mother caught me smoking weed the first time, I was about 14, and it was the same experience for most of the peers of in my neighborhood. When we got caught smoking weed by our parents, we were chastised in a way as if we'd done the worst thing ever,
Definitely.
right? Right? And then I went to high school with the people that I went to high school with, and happened to uh, go over a classmate of mine's home, and we went out. His backyard was like a woods, so I'm gonna say we went out to the woods to smoke. And his father and mother came back there on their like nature trail hike through the backyard. And when you're young, you don't realize the wafting smell of the marijuana. You think if you 100 feet away over here smoking it, you don't know that 2 football fields away, the father and mother already smelled it, and that's why they did their nature hike, right? But the reaction to us smoking was so much different. Whereas I thought he was going to get chewed out more, because here I am going to a prep school where, you know, the academic level is supposed to be prestigious, and you know, the lifestyle is supposed to be this, and they treated weed like, oh, there's no problem, like.
It's
And
true.
that was a culture shock for me, because here it was, my mother treated me like, at the time, that I did the worst thing ever. And then his mother and father, you know, they kind of didn't like us doing it, but it wasn't. Trust me, we weren't in trouble or anything.
And
I
and
mean,
it's like I feel like a part of that, you know, comes from the fact that, let's be real, your mom had a black son. You had a black mom with a black son, and that scared
Nah,
her.
that's real. I'm
That
just touching
scared
on
her.
what Seymore touched on, how, you know, it negatively and adversely affected us more. So even
Yeah,
subconsciously, or
yeah.
right, our parents, it was instilled into them that, boy, you can get into trouble by dealing with this shit here. So don't do it.
exactly.
Whereas his parents knew that for a white child, getting caught with weed is nothing. A
Right.
slap on the wrist because
Right.
they suffer from affluenza.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Facts.
And
And to take it even deeper than that, I look at it twofold as far as their aspect too. You got to think they go to the doctor and they have a whole medicine cabinet full of pills. That's why they call it a medicine cabinet. So they just thankful that they kids ain't on Vicodin and all of that other shit and Oxycontin that they up there popping. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's
mhm.
because they have the knowledge of what's real and what's not real, right? And when
Exactly.
the only way to tell a lie is to know the truth, right? And people say,
Right.
"What you talking about?" Like, and you just got to think about that. Like, otherwise, I'm just saying something that's mistaken, right? Because if I don't know the truth, I'm not lying. I could think it's the truth, and I didn't tell a lie. I just spoke an untruth, but I didn't tell a lie. I spoke mistakenly because I was ignorant. But when you know the truth, and then you say something else to dupe the people, that's a blatant lie, right? So here it is. In my eyes, what I thought when speaking about the incident with the classmate, it was like instantaneous to me that they had the knowledge that weed was not bad at all, or else
Right.
they would have steered their son clear of it, right?
And on top of
And
that, it's like I went to prep school as well, and let's just be real. Like a lot of times, you get those legacy families that like the
Right.
dad went to the same school, the mom, like their whole family don't
yeah,
went through this school, and I'm gonna be real with you. Having went to school in the hood and then taking out the hood and going to the suburbs and going to this prep school, there is not any less. There is not less people that's selling drugs. I mean, let's just be real. If you want
It's
to call it,
not.
is they all it's drugs everywhere. You can find it anywhere at school. You, in fact, I found a wider variety of drugs
Word
when
is
I went
bond. I
to
was
prep
about to
well,
school.
say they got all the
let's
shit.
shout out
Like
the
shit
prep
I ain't
school
never even
because
heard of. The first time
let's
I
shout
ever
out the
heard of
prep
crystal
school.
meth. Word is bond. Shout out to
Yes,
prep school. You already know, man. Catholic school, all of that. Hold it
because I
down,
made a
man. We
lot
was
of
getting
weed
it.
money, right?
But
The statute of
that's a
limitation is
fact,
up.
yo. That's a
I made a
fact.
lot of weed money at prep school, right?
But but the
I
first time
swear
I
I
ever
did.
heard about crystal meth was in prep school, bro. I learned about that
Yeah.
from the Asians. They invented that shit before it came to to the United States. A lot of people don't know that it was
Well,
something called
during my
shabs.
era
It
of
was
high
called
school,
shabu.
right? During my era of high school, the young kids that attended my school were experimenting still with LSD. So you know,
Oh man.
I'm from the straight trenches of Trenton, New Jersey, and that is very foreign to me. Like
And for me, the kids that I
very
went to school with, it was Adderall. Like
Oh
that was the big
yeah.
thing. So you could find that anywhere. I mean, I could find like I mean, that's just
yes.
real. Even when I got to college, like drug dealing doesn't stop if that's what you want to call it. Like, I mean, people gonna do what people do. Like,
It's true. When I got to high school, the most affluent kids had the widest variety. I'm talking about drugs. I'm not talking about cannabis. I'm talking about drugs. Like
yeah,
like you said,
Drugs.
kid, Adderall. Like I
coke.
said, real heroin,
Yes,
cocaine.
all
What
drugs.
they
Yes,
call them, oxys. Everything that they doing
Yeah,
now, handlebars, all of that. Like they had that on.
yes.
Yeah, it was a
On
walking
deck,
candy
right?
store. And like you said, you go to a black school, the most you're gonna find is like some bud or maybe some heroin that they not selling to other kids in the
Now,
school. They selling that shit on the
and
street. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
everything you saying is pumped by the biggest drug dealer out here, Big Pharma, right?
Yes, sir.
Because everything you saying had to come from a pharmacy, man.
It's true. And that's why, and that's why I wanted to touch on what you had said earlier about how you really don't trust doctors and things of that nature. I tell people all the time, I'm like, how can you sit up there and take advice from someone who takes a Hippocratic oath to help you, but yet they never give you anything, or they never search for alternative methods or outside means to truly cure you? Because at the end of the day, it's a business, it's a revolving door to keep you coming in. So therefore, they'll help you, but they'll never really cure you. And I believe that's why they took out Dr. Sebi. I hope they don't take me out. You know what I'm saying? Knock on wood.
Right.
Nah, but you
medicine, because medicine in its modern day form is a study that was first practiced, like in modern civilization as we know it, by the Medici family. And
yes.
I challenge our listeners. I challenge our listeners to just go look up the Medici family, and then maybe you'll understand some of my reserve about Orthodox medicine as
the
being
root word,
the
medicine,
only
Medici.
The Medici family, Medici. Just go study them a little bit.
And when you look at any type of medical pamphlet or whatever, it says be advised by your medical professional. This is medical advice, meaning that this is not word.
Right.
This is not law.
This is not law.
Is something
it's practice.
To guide
we practice medicine because we're trying to make it perfect. Well, I don't want to be the guinea pig. I'll practice on myself, right? Because my cure-all is cannabis.
Yes, either that or apple cider vinegar.
That part, apple cider vinegar will get you right.
What?
That part.
What?
Look.
That's what I live by.
How about we infuse an apple cider vinegar THC type drink?
Let me tell you. So my cosmetic company, Black Vanity Cosmetics, I literally have, because I believe I got scalp psoriasis or something. Like my scalp is dry. I literally have a scalp rinse with apple cider vinegar infused with hemp extract. Like that's literally the product I just crafted. And I noticed that when I talk to people about it, it's a foreign concept. Like people don't understand, like, why would I be putting this on my head? I'm like, no, they tell you go buy Head and Shoulders if you got dandruff. I'm telling you, this is gonna cure the reason why you're having dandruff.
Exactly.
It's not gonna leave not gonna leave the problem there. You're looking at Band-Aid solutions. I'm looking to fix the problem.
Right. You're looking right. So what we're looking for are cures and not not fixes to symptoms, right?
Right.
We try and get at the root of the problem and stave it off before we have to deal with the symptoms and only cure those, right?
Because apple cider vinegar is a crazy detox. Like it will detox and at the same time balance the pH. So if you ingest it, like for me, if I put a capful in my smoothie, it will detox the body and it will also balance the gut flora so you don't feel stomach pains. So for people that have lactose intolerant, IBS, you got stomach problems on a regular, you might want to incorporate apple cider vinegar into your diet some way. They have gummies now. You can then throw it in a smoothie. You can have your smoothie be infused on top of that, and then you're cool.
The best of both worlds. Look at that.
It's definitely true. I use it for literally everything. Ever since I really learned about apple cider vinegar, like I'm using that over peroxide. I'm using that, like you said, I'm putting it in my tea. When COVID was around, like I literally used to boil it in water and just inhale it, like inhale the vapors and stuff, and that's what kept I feel like it kept me away. Like apple cider vinegar is the truth.
Yep.
Y'all just gave me, that's a whole nother segment on another segue, but I just like that because what I just thought about listening to you talk right now is a segment called High Health. And we're trying
Yup,
Nice.
high health. I like that. I like
I
that.
like that too.
That might have to be the title of this episode, high health, because that's all we've been talking about. Your personal relationship, your mental health, your spiritual health, your physical health. Like, that's crazy.
That's right.
It's true. You coined it.
High Health with Seymore Doe.
You
Yep.
coined it. You coined it. That's
Yep.
definitely what's up. But yeah, when I found out that the people who make these vaccinations and the people who make these immunizations don't take it and don't give it to their children, I'm like, how could a medical professional really suggest that to anyone? Is because A, they don't read it, and B, like I said, they work for the pharmaceutical companies in a money mill.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
And
glad you
it's
touched on that because that's why I never considered myself like I was termed a weed dealer, right? But I'm a cannabis culturalist. Like
Mm-hmm.
I indulge in this, right? Like you don't call a person that smokes crack that sold his buddy $20 worth of crack a crack dealer, right? He's a crackhead, right? We
exactly
don't call and we don't call farmers or anybody food dealers because they eat the products that they procure. Like
Mm-hmm.
most weed dealers, like as they like to term them, are weed culturalists or cannabis culturalists who
Mm-hmm.
partake in the actual product themselves and doesn't they don't mind servicing people of their culture with the finest of this product.
right,
Mm-hmm.
right.
Right?
It's true. It's definitely true. I mean, look at any great sports commentator. Most of them played the sport themselves, therefore they have that in-depth knowledge and they can
Right.
guide you in the proper way.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the time, you choose your weed plug, your weed dealer, because either he always high, right, or he
Right,
keeps what you know to be top quality bud every time you see him.
right,
And that goes back to what you were saying about like we and your personal relationship with it and what you think is fire might not be fire to somebody else. I feel like that's how you kind of cultivate some of the best relationships. Like I've been in smoke sessions where I smoke with somebody and I'm like, this that gas, what's up? Like we gonna
right,
hang out. Like,
right.
and then you might find out that the person you smoking with, that's really the plug, or they plug the plug, they friend and stitch and the third. And like you really build relationships through bonding. Like we is
It's
something like you
true.
said, a cultural. It's a culture.
Right, because the human relationship, we are still animals, right? And so laws of attraction weigh heavy on us, regardless to what
Right.
we are attracted to like-minded creatures. So if me and you smoke the same weed and have the same reaction, that is an immediate bonding
Mm-hmm.
mechanism,
It's
right?
true.
If I hit this cough and look at you to wait for you to hit it, and then you cough, we share that experience. I can laugh at you
Mm-hmm.
because more than likely the tingle in your throat happened the same. You thought you was going to hold it back because you done seen me do it first. You tried to not fall that way, right? But it
Right,
happened,
right.
and so we bond.
It's
Yep.
true.
And
And then you know what I'm saying? Back to what Kia was saying, you might put somebody else on. They might be
Yeah.
like,
right,
damn, I thought I was smoking some weed. Like, nah, bitch, I ain't been smoking. Like, hold up, yo, let me
and,
start fucking with
right,
you. Like, you know
right.
what I'm
And
saying?
now you smoke with somebody and they got trash and they keep talking about it's gas. Y'all probably ain't gonna be around each other too
Nah,
much
Yeah.
longer. Like y'all got the
Yeah.
nah.
same things in common. Like,
Like, nah, you
because it's
don't know
going
what you talking
that's
about,
telling
bro.
them other characteristics. And this is what I mean about the laws of attraction. If he's not attracted to what he or she isn't attracted to what you are, you start to, put barriers up and boundaries like, all right, stay away from this person.
And
Like,
and let's think
because it's
about it, Joe.
something
When the last time you ever really seen like unless you got beef with the nigga already. But when the last time you ever really seen niggas break out and start fighting? Cause you know what I'm
Word.
saying? They smoking weed. Them niggas do
Oh
that
man,
shit
you
off of
building.
drugs,
You
alcohol,
building
and
off the
shit like
weed,
that.
right?
You know what I mean? Yeah,
Off the
you
weed,
building
off,
off of bud, man. You
off the
building
weed, you got corner
relationships.
politics and shit, right?
Exactly.
You want people to vote, all you gotta do is tell them at the end of your ballot, man, you placing your ballot, we giving you a dime bag of weed. Watch how many voters turn out.
No, I'm not gonna lie to you. They did that during COVID.
Yes.
It wasn't here. I feel like it was on the West Coast, and they called it jabs for joints, and they was trying to get people to get their
Yep.
COVID vaccination, and then when they got the vaccination, they get a joint at the
Do you
end.
enjoy?
Yep.
Oh my God! You know how many people said fuck that? They said this is through all caution to win. They said I ain't getting that COVID shot. The next thing you know, they said, "Man, is that weed fired out here, boy?"
Yeah, the bud will definitely motivate you,
right?
especially when you ain't got it.
Look at that, man. Boy, they something else, boy.
Nah, like overall, like y'all said, high health, like a part of being a part of this cannabis culture is the fact that, like, for example, the three of us have never had a conversation about weed in this way. But when we come together and we had this conversation, it's like we really been like I experienced it with my generation. Like we low-key been living some of the same lives. Like everybody had that experience in a cipher where you end up friends with somebody. You just met them that day. Like your friend could have brought them because that's their friend, and you end up cool with them after that. You know, we all had that experience. We've had good and bad experiences. Like some people, like I know for me, I smoked some weed before. I don't even remember the strain. It was not a pleasant feeling. I left that alone. Like that's not the one for me. You know, I go pick up the ones that I like. And you know, we all been through that trial and error phase of finding the weed. That's how we're able to say, I prefer an indica, I prefer a sativa, because we went through that trial and error. We all been searching. So I think that's a part of an overarching theme for the health part is like, learn your body.
Yes.
You know, like
right.
be in tune with self.
Self-savior, that's right. Knowledge of self is very key. You can't know nothing else before you know yourself. Believe it or not.
That's definitely true.
Right? Before you learn how to walk, you had to crawl first.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's like everything connected too. What my dad loves to say, all inclusive.
That's right. It's all inclusive. Everything, right? So the more you separate, the only thing we're doing is segmenting it, right? So it's like one never-ending circle, and you think just because you on the north point on it and I'm on the south point on it right now, that they're not the same circle. So this is how the mental and the physical connect, right? This is how all this connects. It's all connected.
It's definitely true.
Yeah, and I think if not anything from this conversation, I know I'm walking away with a deeper understanding of how we bring all of that together, how we make the circle make sense, the head, the mind, the body.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely true. And then to me, what was so crazy was how we all had the same experience in different generations and with different, like
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
like
History
with
repeating
different drugs
itself,
and
right?
stuff like that.
Right.
Like you were like LSD and I was like methamphetamines and you were like Adderall. Like it was just so crazy to me. But at the end of the day, we all had the same bud experience. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
right. That's right. That's right. I didn't even think about it like that, but that's true, right? What the people around us was doing at the time, right?
Exactly.
Whereas we still were heavy influenced by the cannabis, man.
Yeah,
You found your lane, you stayed there.
I truly don't understand how anybody ventures off into that, and especially coming from, you know what I'm saying, my era. Like nigga, we had Dare, like nigga, that dog came to my school and all that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like they told
man,
you,
everybody,
you know what I'm saying?
Cannabis is for everybody, even though everybody might not be for cannabis.
Word is born, and it was like, bro, I don't need nothing more than the bud. They ain't never talk about that. They never said don't smoke bud. They said don't smoke crack, nigga. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
And one thing I'm gonna notice for me, I never tried certain things because I seen how it took people out of the element.
Yes.
It
Yeah.
take you out of your element. We gonna put me deeper into my element, deeper into my bag. It's gonna help me further understand myself. Like, I come from parents that knew the crack era, lived through
Mm-hmm.
it. And
Mm-hmm.
so hearing their stories and you know, whether it's family, friends, neighbors,
Right.
actual family members, and seeing how a person will be one way, and then my parents say, yeah, then they got a hold of some crack, or crack got a hold of them, and they are a totally different person.
Yeah, and it's like if you see these things and you're coming up, because like you know, let's keep it real. There were different generations to where like that affected them directly and they didn't really know how to handle it. But then it's like after that, you know what I mean, and you see all of these effects of this, it's like, how can you not, how do you elevate past the bud? Like how do you even
Right.
think
Yeah,
about it?
yeah,
Right.
yeah, that's
Right.
real.
See, we, we
But you
we
know,
have a
I'm
case
not here to
study to go
judge.
off of.
Yeah, and
Right.
it's no
No, we got a
judgment,
case study.
but
Right.
We have a case study to go off of. And, you know, fortunately for us, marijuana has been a case study since we've been here, right? And we've always known the truth. It's just getting out to the public. And
mhm,
Definitely.
so the good thing about that is that when you do that case study, you can learn from the mistakes of those that came before you, and that's why you know you can show better because you know better.
Right. Right.
mhm,
Even like it was like I was talking about my mom how smoking weed was the worst thing I did when she caught me in my early teen years. But as I got older and our relationship developed to a more mature state, you know, and we spoke about it, weed was not really a problem for her or issue for her, right? She was more concerned with the actions around it, which she thought were detrimental because, like you saying, being a black youth and having a relationship with that and knowing the relationship was not good for her child, right? But
Right.
once
mhm.
I was an adult and could show that I can use it responsibly and still handle my responsibilities as a man and be productive as a person, she had no problem with me smoking weed at all. And I then later
and
learned that she was a heavy smoker herself at one time, you know?
and then
Oh no, that's what's up.
and then it's crazy too, because you think about it, and let's be real, like, I don't have kids at the moment, but when I do have kids, like, I feel like if they choose to drink alcohol, which is completely legal, I think I would still kind of, even though I know I did it, I tried alcohol at 14, I'ma still say you can't be out drinking, you're 14. And
Right.
it's not necessarily because I'm mad that
Right.
they it's alcohol. It's like, I know
It's
that
the
with
rules
what
and
alcohol
regulations.
comes with, you are
Right.
not fully, you haven't developed
Right.
the maturity to handle your
Not
liquor
at
and that
all.
I know you safe.
Exactly.
Not at
Exactly.
all. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a whole different animal, alcohol. You know what I mean? It really is.
Yeah.
But that's true too. The education that just because we're saying cannabis is uh, uh, still good and not bad, it should still be dealt with responsibly, and maybe it
Mhm.
does need to be that age factor set on it, and that's what I wasn't realizing at the time, right? But you know, fortunate for me, and maybe unfortunate for some others, I've had a relationship with it from an early age, and
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
Yeah.
it's always
Right.
been good in my eyes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. And
Definitely.
and it's like, I feel like kids just naturally, like, maybe because I'm closer to that, like, I'm still deeply connected to that part of my life. Like, I feel like high school was yesterday for me. And I feel like naturally you just I'm gonna keep saying it, so I'm doing, you just in exploration mode. Like, you just trying to figure out who you are, what you stand for, what you like, what you don't like, what your fashion is like, and weed for me was a part of that. Like, when I
Right.
discovered, I was like, I mean, I ain't discovered weed. I mean, weed has always been around me. But when I finally decided I wanted to partake, I was like, I like this. Like, I ain't
Mm-hmm.
mad at it at all. And that
Not
was just
at
one of
all.
those things. Like, I mean, you same way you see your parents or your older cousins and they drinking. You naturally want to be like, can I try some? Like, what is it that y'all like about this? Like,
Right.
y'all seem real, y'all having a good time with you. It's just exploration. And I think that because of some of the stigma around cannabis and the laws around cannabis, fortunately now progressing towards a different space. But in my time, first started smoking, it wasn't there. And that kind of stifled some of that exploration. I think that so that kids can know how to do things safely, because we're not talking about it. We don't talk about it the same way we talk about alcohol and everything else. We're not talking about it. We're not having a conversation. You're just saying it's bad or
Right.
don't do it. Like you're not
Well,
you're not talking about it.
That's why we bringing this platform to play right here. So we gonna talk about it, and we gonna let the people know what it is and what it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Yeah, and no means endorsing teenage smoking, but
No.
I do want people to be educated in whatever you're doing. Know what you're doing. Maybe because I had parents that was like, I don't care if it's something like, the doctor give you that's a prime example. The doctor give you a suggestion on what you should do to treat this problem. My
Right.
parents would tell me, go research that. And if that's something that you're
Mm-hmm.
like okay with, then go move forward. If you're not, then you find better advice or a better solution. I think research and education is big.
Definitely. And me personally, like I feel like if my child was to ever start smoking bud or using cannabis or what have you, I would prefer that, he used that shit at the house and not out there with his friends and shit like that. Cause like, you know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
y'all are just now,
You
like you
prefer
said,
he's
y'all are in
responsible.
exploration mode. You know what I mean? So you
Mm-hmm.
really don't know, you know what I mean? You don't necessarily know what it looked like, what it smelled like, how it's grown and things of that nature. So I would
Right,
prefer for you to indulge, you know what I'm saying? Like at least around me because, I'm a professional, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
right,
And
right. And you have the knowledge of some of the ill games that are played with this, right? And the
exactly.
additives and things of that nature, so you can guide in the proper way. And
Exactly.
that is very true, because just because you smoked yesterday don't mean you now have a relationship with weed and you know
Mm-hmm.
everything that there is to know,
For
right?
real. I,
So,
I I remember like the first couple times where I really got like, like back in the day for us it was red line and purple haze. And I remember my
right,
heart
right.
was beating fast as hell. And I'm like, oh shit, like nigga, I'm
Mm-hmm.
high than the motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you might want somebody there to be like, all right, nigga, calm down. You ain't gonna die. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right.
And like for me, that just made me think back. I mean, I was a teenager and my mom came to me and was like, I don't endorse you smoking. I don't want you to smoke. But I know that it's a possibility when you leave this house that you might be presented with the opportunity and you might take it. She told me, she sat me down. She said, don't you smoke nothing you ain't rolled. Don't like, she told me specific, like if you didn't see it roll or you didn't roll it, people lacing weed is a real thing.
That's
Do
true.
not trust everybody. So
That's
I
true.
knew when I did start to indulge, I knew I had an idea of like how to do it safely, how to avoid dangerous situations, especially being a female where people like that date rape thing and all that is super real. That is a real danger that men will do things sometimes, not all men, but there
Right.
are categories that will do things to get things. And that is real. Like you gotta be wary of the person. Like, yo, I rolled this joint for you. Just come out of nowhere, pulled it out their pocket, fully rolled, like smoke this. Like, hold
Nah.
on.
Oh
Word.
no,
No, no, no.
let's be real. Most of us were introduced to it by someone who was very familiar, right? Once
Yeah.
again, right? Because you had trust for the person who introduced it to you. You didn't mind them, bringing it to you like in that manner. So, it's the same thing with like a weed dealer. No, you can't just go anywhere. And this is what they trying to do now with some of these dispensaries where we take out that factor of it, right? The unknown of what's going on. So things are labeled, and it's also kind of legally binding. If I get something that's tainted from your establishment, for
Mm-hmm.
me,
Right.
now
Right.
I have legal recourse, whereas this was not the case when you had a black market for this, right?
Right.
But you're exactly right, though, kid. You still have to be responsible and be
Mm-hmm.
taught right on how to deal with it, because if anything is misused or abused, it can be a problem for us. And unfortunately, like you said, there are those characters that I would not consider part of the cannabis culture, though they
Yeah.
indulge in
They
cannabis.
Yeah.
definitely
When you're
not
doing
Yeah.
part
things
of the
like that.
culture.
Yeah. Because
We
Right,
that's not what
right.
the culture about. The culture ain't
nah,
about taking
Right.
advantage of people. The culture about
yeah.
bonding.
It's about
Right.
building, not destroying. Yeah, for
Yeah.
real.
Yeah, that's real. And it's like, I don't know, having parents that were very realistic about not only their experience with cannabis and their young, like my parents didn't hide anything from me. They, in the sense of, they didn't divulge, like, no, I'm not 6 years old knowing what my parents was doing, but as the time was right, as the opportunity presented itself, my parents said, this is what this is what that is, this how you gonna stay safe. And I
Hmm.
think that we need to have that conversation. Like, I keep going back to that, but on a larger scale, like, let kids know how to stay safe. And I read a book, I think it was called Redemption, and the man, like, he was first introduced to crack through somebody putting in his weed. Like, but
Yeah.
he didn't know no better. Like, he was a kid, but nobody talked to him about staying safe with it. Like, let's not play around with it like that. Like, that's not okay. And he even says in
Right.
the
No.
book, like,
Right. And that's a life lesson in itself because unfortunately, someone played on his ignorance and
mm-hmm,
Hmm.
betrayed his trust by giving him something that he didn't consensually agree to taking. Right.
mm-hmm,
Right.
But you know, those true culturalists of us, we get pleasure out of giving you something you never had that
Right.
will give you the experience that will blow your
yeah,
mind. Like,
Right.
right.
Like when I
and a
used to
good
sell bud, I
experience.
used to always be like, you know what I'm saying? Y'all gonna thoroughly enjoy that, man. I hope
Mm-hmm,
Right.
you enjoy it. That was a
mm-hmm,
long
No,
time
kid,
ago.
that was
But
important. What
yeah,
you was about to touch on in a good way, like 'cause we
yeah,
want to blow your mind. Like, we
exactly.
want you, right, in a good way. Like, in no way do I want you to then come back to me and be like, "Yo, man, that shit you gave me had me tripping. I was hallucinating." And not unless when you came to me, you said, "Yo, I want some weed that's gonna make me hallucinate and trip and shit."
For real.
yeah. And that's what I think I love about the authentic cannabis culture, because everybody, like y'all keep saying, building, bonding, everybody looking at, we just want to have a good time. Let's just smoke weed and have a good time. I feel like that's when you really in the cannabis culture,
And,
that's your motto. Like, we just trying to
and
have fun.
add on. We're
Yep.
trying to destroy stress and add on to excitement and enjoyment.
Yeah.
Right? Build and destroy. I'm
I
trying to build
personally
enjoyment, kill boredom and stress.
Mm-hmm.
I personally love the conversations that come out of a cipher, man.
Yeah.
I feel like I learn so much more, man. I feel, sometimes I teach people so like I just love the conversations that arise, just the random, like they just be so random, and then you just
Mm-hmm.
start building on them out of nowhere, and then it's just
That's that
amazing, man.
pineal gland.
Exactly, exactly.
And for
All
for me,
inclusive again, right?
Yep,
it's
all
the having the
inclusive.
conversations and you being a cipher and you just listening to music. And I love rap, so I be like, yo, you heard that bar where he really saying is da 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 da. We get into
Word.
breaking
You
down.
sound like your father. I know that man too.
Word.
Uh, get to breaking out bar by bar. Like, yo, did you hear that? Like, speaking of that, we got some bars of Seymores to break down, man. Tell the people again how they can get at you, man.
Oh man, I greatly appreciate that. Basically on all platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at Seymore Dough, man, SEYMOREDOUGH. Um, I'm on I'm on all streaming platforms, Apple, iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify. Basically, wherever you want to listen to, it's your preference. I'm there.
Yeah,
Y'all
word.
make sure y'all check that out, man. Nothing but heat, man, for the streets.
For
You hear
real.
me? So
For
y'all make
real.
sure y'all get at that.
And
I
fire on the
appreciate
way.
it.
And fire on the way.
Yeah. I got some
Right.
things coming out with Benny the Butcher, Stove God Cooks, 38 Special. Yeah, we got some special things on the
Yeah,
way,
go
man.
ahead.
Thank you.
It's been another edition of the Cypher. I Key, CIY, signing off with a Kid Brown. We like to give a special shout out to Seymore Doing. Y'all make sure y'all get at that, man.
I greatly appreciate y'all for having me, man. It was definitely my pleasure, and I hope to do it again, like for real. Salute to the whole cannabis community. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, indulge responsibly, man, and keep that shit burning.
Right.
That's right.
Right.
Peace.
Peace, y'all.